Okay, Siman Gimel, Ice Bays. Yeah. Anybody have the thing? Where do we go till tonight? Let me check. I have it in the. Oh, we do the whole thing. We finish the whole thing, right? Yeah, we're finishing the entire Siman Gimel. Okay, so we're in Siman Gimel, which is talking about how to get dressed. So he goes off a little bit on a tangent. Once he's talking about getting dressed, talk about how you are with goyim, or how not to be like goyim. So ein halchen bechukas hagoyim, bechukas oivdei gacham v'loy medam them. You're not allowed to go in the ways of the goyim and not anything similar to them. Loy b'malbish v'loy b'seir, not with your clothing and not with your hair. So this is a very slippery slope. Shenemar v'loy selchu bechukas hagoy. Don't go in the ways of the goyim. V'nemar b'chukasem loy selechu. V'nemar hishomer lecha petinokish achareim. Be careful not to go after goyim. Lo yilbash malbish hamayuchid lahem l'shum geyos v'hu malbish sarim. Do not wear clothing that's specific for them to look nicer, and if it's a clothing that belongs to officers. Uludugma, for example, hadamrina v'gemara. This it says in Gemara Sanhedrin, the asli yisrael damas lem afilu b'ritzuas aminol. A yid is not to look like a guy, even with a shoe string. Shem hayadarkam likshor kach. If the guy ties their shoes one way, b'derech yisrael binyan acher, and a yid does it another way. Ashahayim hagam liyas lehem ritzuas adumas, where they have red shoelaces. B'shel yisrael shchayres, and the yid has black. B'shem detzeva shachar moira ala nova. Black is a humble color. B'shiflus and utznius, and it's there's all terminologies of humbleness and tznius. Asli Yisrael l'shanis, a yid cannot change it. When we say yilmad kol adam l'fi mekayme u'shate, and this is going to be basically, it's going to be based on location and time. Shamal b'shasi liyuaro pritzos, clothing that's meant to make you look good, and for pritzos, lo yaseh ha Yisrael kain, a Yisrael shouldn't do that. Elam abushav yasuim be'inyan hamoira alachnav utznius, and it should be, very bakavadik, very unassuming. This is what we say in the Madrash. Don't say that since a guy goes out with argamon. So what is it? How do we call it? Lavender? What do you call argamon? I don't know how you lavender. Lavender. No. Purple? I don't know.
That's
something.
Purple in the article.
Purple. Yeah, purple. Okay, it's one of those colors. All right. Thank you. So afani etzi argamon. I'll also go with argamon. Hoyel v'hein yotzim bekulsin, Pirush Kli Zayin. Since they go out with armor, so afani etzi bekulsin. I'll also go with kulsin. Shadvar malalu divrei shachatz v'gaivahem. They're bad, and it's gaiva. And that's not the way Yid is supposed to be. And don't turn to these crazy things. This is what you get into. Should a Yid have a gun or not? We're not going to go down that road. We're going to just keep going weiter. But should Yidden have guns? That's A.
You say the same thing. Should Yidden have Teslas? No.
Well, how about ties? How about wear a tie? We can go down this road. There's a million things, right? Ties. Should a Yid have a tie? Should he have a nice car? Should watches, fancy watches, what? And all that.
What's wrong with the tie?
What's a tie for?
I don't know what a tie is for.
Exactly. It's to make you look good, expensive ties, and to make for what? For what reason?
What about shoe? What about fancy shoes?
And a chanami. So that's what the whole thing. The chassidim are very makbid on. The chassidim don't even have the real chassidim don't even have buttons on their what do you call this? Sleeves. Right? They go without buttons. They button the opposite. The men's shirts button the opposite. That's why they wear long coats. There's a truth from Moshe Feinstein about wearing long coats. That nowadays that we wear short jackets, that you didn't wear short jackets, you're allowed to. But other than that, if it wouldn't be that it became the minig that you didn't wear short jackets, he says you would have to all wear long jackets. It would be also for us to wear short jackets. Okay, whatever it is. How about baseball caps of baseball teams and baseball uniforms and all these things? It's not. Especially with a guy's name on the back.
Especially during davening.
Yeah. If there's anything that has to do with that, it seems like this is what goyim do, then that doesn't work. Now, obviously, wearing pants or wearing a shirt, that's not what goyim. I mean, everybody wears that, so it has to be something specific that shows that it's what we call is a goyish thing. Okay, it's a slippery slope. Lo yigalach, don't take a haircut. Lo yigadol cyrus, roish kamayim, do not have what you shouldn't have what we call a chup. What right in yeshivas they have a chup. Eli yehi muvdol mehem. We got to look different than them. We have to be separated from the goyim. V'cheinu oimer v'avdil esem min ha'amim. I'm going to separate them, the yidden, from the goyim. Fine. Gimel. Lo yilbash begadim yikarim. You should not wear expensive clothing. Why? Ki davar zeh maybe it's adam lidei gaiva. Wearing expensive clothing brings somebody to gaiva. V'loi begadim pchusim ma'oid, and don't wear lousy clothing either. Aymeluchlachim, or dirty. So people, you shouldn't embarrass yourself in front of brias. Meaning you don't want people saying, "Oh, look at these dirty Jews," literally, right? You have to have the middle road. Middle of the road is what you have to have, which is always very difficult. So again, no clothing too expensive, no clothing too cheap. You got to take the middle of the road, which is tznius, like we mentioned it yesterday. Men have almost as much tznius, as many tznius halachas as women do. Tznius is pshat, don't stand out. That's what tznius is. And that's equal for men and for women. And a person should, and this is just brought totally parenthetically, that a person, it's very important to have shoes. So a person should even sell his house, the roof of his house, he should have shoes. Fine. Dalit. Lefisha matzinu. Sheyamin hi chashuva. Now he gets into the halachas of getting dressed. So lefisha matzinu. Sheyamin hi chashuva b'tayr linyan avodah, that the right is always chashuv when doing the avodah in the Beis Hamikdash. Linyan bayin yoda bayin rad regel shel miluim, and they have to use the right thumb and the right toe. V'shel mitzayra and mitzayra ulin mitzvahs chalitza. Chalitza is also the right. L'chein b'levisha. So when you get dressed, l'chein b'shar dvarim and everything else, la'olam yakdim shel yamin l'shel small. The right always goes before the left. And what about a lefty? It's also some things. Reb Chaim Kanievsky has a whole sefer on lefties, but many things, it's a din. It has nothing to do with what's your stronger arm. Tefillin, obviously, yes, but many things, it's just that the right is more chashuv, having nothing to do with whether you're a lefty or not. And by taking off your shoes, when you get undressed, you go the opposite. You take the left off first, because it's more covered. Right? So the one getting dressed, everybody remembers. The getting undressed, that you do the left first, that already is much harder to remember. But by tying, you tie the tefillin, so therefore the left is more chashuv when it comes down to tying. Small tchila, you tie the left first. Shoes that have knots. So noyal shel yamin, first you put on the right shoe. Ve'ena kosher, don't tie it. Then noyal shel small, put on the left shoe, v'kosher, and then tie that. V'achakach kosher shel yamin, and then go tie the right side. V'chein b'shar begodim, and also by other clothing. There's an interesting story that's brought that the what do they call it, the Kaiser or something in charge of the prime minister of Hungary way back when was very close to the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, and he used to quote the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. So in Parliament once they brought in the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. I think this is the way the story goes, and they opened up to this page, and they started laughing at the Yidden. Look at these Jews, and the right foot, left foot, tie the left up. What are these guys making themselves nuts? And then this Kaiser or whatever got up and he said, You guys don't understand. The Jews have meaning in every last thing that they do. You guys should be jealous. You guys have no life whatsoever. The Jews put meaning into every last thing, even something so mundane like putting on the shoes. They have meaning. Right goes first, left gets tied first. They have meaning in every last thing. And he shut them down. But anyways, so I mean, when you put on a shirt, do you put your right sleeve in first? Right? And when you shower, also you should be washing soaping up your right side before your left side, right? Right arm before the left arm. It's the way it goes, right? Fine. Now, what about a lady?
Doesn't the Kitzur eventually bring that?
Eventually, yeah.
Showering, yeah.
Yeah. What about a lady with tying? Does a lady have to tie? A lady doesn't put on tefillin. So if a lady has tie shoes, so she have to put on her right shoe first, put on her left shoe, tie the left shoe, and then go to right, or they don't put on tefillin. Right? So I think I don't think they have to, but the right and the left, they do have to. Fine. Hey, Yizarm a little bit shnei begadim biyachad. You should be careful from wearing two begadim at one time. It's kasher l'shikcha. It's kasher l'shikcha. Now, what comes up with this is sometimes when you have a big yarmulke and you want to put into your hat and then put your hat on with the yarmulke at the same time, the poskim say not to do that because that's like wearing two articles of clothing at the same time. Vav also leilich dalar amas alahitim mipiv davar shebekdusha begilei arosh. It is not. It's also to walk 4 amas, or to say any davar shebekdusha from your mouth when you're bareheaded. And even minors, you have to get them used to covering their head. So that they should have Yiras Shamayim. The story of Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak. So the Kaldoi, which is the Chayzim Makechavim, the stargazers, told her, Brech Ganvahava, your son is going to be a Ganav. Don't let him go without a head covering. So Amrlei Kasi Reshach, so they said just cover over the head, and therefore he'll have Aimsa de Shemaya. And then the Gemara there continues. I think it's that Gemara that continues, and then it once fell off. His yarmulke once fell off, or his hat, and he quickly jumped and he stole something from somebody, something like that. Right? Then that's not the way it goes.
I think that's a different Maisa. That was with Rikana, Shakal Sudra.
It wasn't this story?
I don't think so.
I thought
there
was.
Are a number of Maisim like this. It could be that's also.
Okay, whatever. Fine. But there's another story like that. Where it is, I have no recollection. And then the minig is that from 3 years old, from when a kid has an upsharing, you cover the hair. It's actually the first tshuva in the Igros Moshe is about covering the hair. The first tshuva is covering the head. Like where Moshe says you don't have to have the majority of the head covered. Most poskim, or many poskim say the majority of the head has to be covered. Moshe says, as long as you can see it from wherever, and wherever anybody around you, as long as they can see up as a head covering, that's enough. Does not have to be the majority of the head. Okay, Zion. Also, Leilach B'Kaim is the Kufa V'Garin Nata. You're not allowed to walk with your, standing straight up and like this, like you with your head up in the air, but your back straight and your head up in the air. The 2 years gone. But on the other hand, don't bend over too much either. Elba mida beinin is just like we said, everything's got to be down the middle. Mida beinin is b'ktei shiras haba keneged panav, so that you should be able to see what's in front of you. Midrach kaf ragla, when you all should see where your feet are going. Meaning, so don't stand up too straight and don't bend over too much. The way a person walks, you can tell whether he's a chacham and a baldeya or he's a shaita. Ashtachal, by the way, doesn't mean seichel. It means fakir. It means a fool. You could tell from a fool, the way a fool walks around, you could tell. You can tell, oh, this guy is not an educated fellow. Fine. Ches, yeshizar, a man should not go in between two women. And not in between two dogs, or between two pigs. And two men should not let a woman walk between them either. But, so that's the basic din, but it's Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, so you don't marich in it. But two men are allowed to walk in between two women. This is very negay. By chassan is and all that. You grab onto another guy and you walk in between. And may ikara din, as long as there's more than 4 amas in between you and the women, that's also okay. Right?
Does
and then
pass between them or walk between them?
What's the difference?
One is that all 3 people are walking to the same place.
Oh, that's
together.
What you mean. No, I thought it was walk between them. And then, of course, you have the famous, I don't know if it's famous or not, but if you hold a walking stick or anything in your hand, that's enough that you can walk between women, or something with a mitzvah. So you grab onto your tzitzis, or you grab onto your payas if you have it, or any payas. Doesn't mean payas like long, meaning a mitzvah. You hold onto a mitzvah, and then it's not a problem. Okay, fine. We will stop there. Everybody should have themselves a fine night. Tomorrow night, I have a wedding, so I'll put it on the chat if I'm going to be a little late. Probably be